Live on stage, the sound.
Orlando!
So, is they ready?
Yes!
The sound.
Orlando!
What is going on, party people? What is going on? This is the Soul Show. You are joining in right now with your brother Rome, live and direct from the ORL. This is where we get. This is where we dwell. This is where we live. This is where we represent. This is where we coming from. Shout out to all my peoples out there that know what time it is when I say the ORL, Old Town Sound. When I say Orlando, y'all know what time it is, man. So all my peoples out there, man, if you were expecting Cassidy tonight, we are rescheduling him for a later date. But the show must go on. And, you know, when we're talking about hip hop culture, man, it's just an honor to chop it up with a lot of the people that we've been bringing on, man. It's just an amazing thing, man, to hear all these stories from real places, you know, and real, you know, just real candid with what they're talking about, man, because for a lot of people, man, it's difficult for people to kind of have that space or have or feel safe to talk whatever they talking, man. So you got to appreciate that. Shout out to all my peoples that love hip hop music the way it should be, the way it was, and the way it will be, man, because, you know, all these kids out here, man, they, you know, whether we know it or not, they look up to us. And they're trying to do the best that they can to represent it the way that they know how to do it. And for a lot of people, you know, you don't realize, man, you know, it's sad, but, you know, for a lot of the old heads, sometimes we have become the very thing we didn't want to be, which was our parents when we were growing up, you know. So when you hear these young kids, man, and they just trying to find a way, find some way to support them, man. Give them some encouraging conversation. Don't be that dude all bitter and shit, you know, coming at them sideways, making it a lot tougher for some OGs to continue that conversation with them, man, because we have to create a lane in which we can all communicate the way we should communicate with each other, and that's with love. So shout out to all my peoples out there that know what time it is when we're talking about that love movement, right? If you got hate in your heart, man, I'm telling you, bro, that shit is short term. It's not gonna burn, and ain't no money you gonna earn from being a hateful motherfucker. So forget all of that shit, man. We represent the ORL. It's all love here, man. And whether you like it or not, kicking or screaming, we gonna tell you our story from our city, and it's gonna be our sound, man. So with that said, shout out to all my hip hoppers out there. We love y'all. We love everybody that's rocking with us, man, on the show, bro. We appreciate y'all. My sponsor tonight is the one and only, the legendary Jesse Jazz, bro. 5-star graphics, legendary promoter, DJ in the city, and he's also got that print game on lock. If you don't know that, brother, you don't know that graphic design work he's doing, you better go check that man. He prints and sends it anywhere in the country. Go check that man, bro. Jesse Mother Jazz, okay? Not to be twisted with Jesse Mother Jazz. His name is Jesse Jazz, and the company is 5-star graphics. Hit that man up. You know what I'm talking about? Now, with that said, my next guest, you know, like I said, when I started this show, the aim of this show was to give our legends a space to talk and tell their story about our city. And this brother right here encompasses all of that, man. You know, he is, you know, part of my childhood was listening to this man in the clubs, at the skating rinks, on radio. And, you know, it was part of our sound. You know, you may not know this man personally, but I know you done shook your ass to one of his joints. I know you done heard that man talk all kinds of shit on the records. You know, I know you, if you brushed up against that man one or two times, man, I'm telling you, That man is cooler than school. He is our people. He is our family. He represents Old Town Sound. You know, he's from Hollis, Queens originally, but came down here to do his thing. I mean, from all the hit records, man, you know, from working with our legends like Beatmaster Clay D, you know, from doing sold out, you know, arenas, rocking our sound, whether it was Miami bass, whether it was that Old Town funk, whatever it was, he was representing the city hard, man. He was mentored by Betty Wright, platinum and gold selling artist. It's just the list goes on, and I know I'm not giving it justice, but you got to give the flowers while they're here. Let's give it up for the Ridge alumni. Going to the Ridge. How many stars that went to the Ridge? You know, that Oak Ridge High School. Shout out to all my people that went to Oak Ridge High School, man. This one's for y'all, man. Let's give it up one time for our legend, the one and only, not to be confused with anybody else, the one and only Prince. Mother Rahiem, let's go.
What's good, my brother? How you feeling, man? How you doing, bro?
Salute. Welcome to the show.
How you feeling this evening, fam?
Yes. What's good?
Man, it's a blessing to be here, man. I'm honored. I'm honored to be on your show and finally make it. You know, we had a couple of mishaps a few times, but we got it tonight, man. So we're going to get into some things tonight, man. And we're going to let Orlando really understand, you know, how much that city kind of helped to evolve who I am as an artist today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And, you know, shout out, just for those wondering why I'm wearing this Wu-Tang shirt, shout out to Method Man on a gracious happy birthday to him, man. You know, I had to wear my Wu-Tang representation up here. But yes, my brother, you're absolutely right. Orlando was the birthplace for a lot of people to be creative, to represent, and really touch the entire nation from this little old city, right?
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely. I mean, you know, it's crazy because most people don't understand that, and they never really understood or knew that there was such a wealth of talent that came out of Orlando.
Right.
You know, it's a blessing to just be a part of that legacy. You know, going to Oak Ridge, you know, going to Evans High, you know, being in talent shows and classmates with artists like Rob, and you know, having a classmate like Antonio Tava, who went on to be the heavyweight champ of the world. You know,
talk about it.
These are the things that came out of Orlando. You feel what I'm saying? And a lot of people understand that, man. You feel me? So we gotta let them understand and know exactly what it was, man. You know, for anybody who really knew me on a personal level when I was in Orlando, they knew that I represent Chilltown to the death of me. You know what I'm saying? Stayed right there on 2020 Messina Drive, right next to Willie Mays Park. You know, and from that point, you know, I was living with my uncle and my aunt. God bless my uncle Howard and my aunt Sally. You know, they took me in. I was going through some things in New York, had to get out of New York. My mom sent me down, and a lot of people thought Miami was the first place that I actually tapped into, when in all actuality, it was Orlando. And Orlando helped me to even further refine my craft before, you know, I actually got a chance to get in the game. You know, to be honest, bro, I remember I used to chill out. Shout out to the Tolbert family from Orlando. You know, Lamar, my boy Lamar. You know, to the Nedwoods. You know what I'm saying? The boys in the hole. Y'all know who I'm talking about. If y'all from Orlando and y'all know about Chilltown, then y'all know all the names that I'm talking about right now.
Shout out to Chilltown. Let's go.
You feel me? And back in the days, man, there used to be this dude named. Actually, it was two dudes. One name was Sugar and one name was Nard. And both of them had like these crazy systems in they cutlasses. You know, Sugar had a powder blue cutlass with the T-tops that came off. You feel me? And
shout
bro,
out to the old
when he would come down the block, bro, when he would come down the block, he would quake the block. You feel what I'm saying? And that was my first taste of what bass music was, because when I got to Orlando, I'm coming straight from Hollis, Queens, so I didn't understand what bass music was. But I knew that rumble that hit me in my soul, it felt good. And the first record that I heard, ironically, happened to be an MC80E record. It was Bass Mechanic. Jam Pony Express. He was records. You already know what it is, man. You know what it is, bro. Listen, man. He was coming down the block playing a Jam Pony mixtape, and Jam Pony was going in on Bass Mechanic. And when I heard it, man, it stopped me in my tracks. Because for one, coming from New York, I never heard a DJ do what Jam Pony was doing. That was for one. For two, I had never heard bass so low and heavy. So it was crazy for me. I'm like, yo, I need that. I like that. Then, you know, anybody, again, that know about Orlando, y'all know there used to be this spot called a Little Shack on Mercy Drive. It was literally a
Mercy Drive. Let's go.
You already know what it is, family. I'm going to take it there, bro. You know what I mean? Yes. These are the blocks that I used to bang on, man. I used to be in, you know, on Mercy Drive. Shout out to the Drive. Salute to everybody from the Drive. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, I went to the Shack this particular night, and my boys from the block brought me through there. They was like, hey, man, you need to really check this out. Shout out to my man Stanley from the football team, Evans High, man. You know what it is, Stan. I love you, boy. But yeah, man, like I was saying, you know, it was crazy because I went in the club, right? And when I went in the club, man, they were playing bass music. I'm looking at the atmosphere, the vibe, and everything is love. I step up in there and I notice there's like this circle of people around this one person. And I could see through the crowd that it's a female, not realizing what the extra was with this female. So I'm like, damn, she going in. They going crazy over this chick. I make my way through the crowd, get to the front, man, to find out the chick had a little nub. She had a nub on a goddamn chair, bruh, with her hand holding on to the chair, and Shorty was going in. Shorty was like, man, this make motherfuckers do this shit. I need in, bruh.
That's that old town shit. Let's go.
Man, only in Orlando, family. Only in Orlando, baby.
Yes. Talk about it, man.
Man, you know,
let everybody know. Let everybody know how you got into the game, how you started doing your shit from the beginning. Like, you know, like when you got here and you seen that, like you were saying, were you rapping then, or were you thinking about getting into the music? Like, talk about how you got into the culture in that regard.
Well, actually, coming from New York, I came in strictly as a beatbox. I had a partner in Hollis, Queens named Divine, who was murdered. And, you know, he was murdered right before Run DMC allowed us to come out on the road with them. Being from Hollis, you know, he was a brother of a brother by the name of T, who was a part of the Afro. And T told us about this event that was going on at Jamaica Park that night. And that particular night, you had Salt and Pepper, Curtis Blow, Running Them was there, LL was there. Then you had all the street people like Supreme. If anybody understands the history, you know, and you know who the Supreme team are from Queens, y'all know these are heavy dudes in New York, and they was heavy in the game. Fat Cat, Bimmy. These are people who was there, and anybody who knows who Bimmy is, y'all already know what it is, man. Salute to Bimmy, salute to Waka Flocka and Deb, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how that tie runs, you dig what I'm saying? So even on that level where people say bass died, and it really never died. It just transferred to crunk and then became trap, which is what Waka Flocka stepped into. And Waka Flocka, being from Queens, came to the South and took over with his sound. You feel what I'm saying? So again, we showing people, man, that, man, music is universal. At the end of the day, man, like I was saying, you know, I descend on Orlando, and when I get there, man, I'm a beatbox. That's all I know. So when I go to the school, I first get enrolled in Oak Ridge High. Shout out to Oak Ridge. And you know, when I'm there was a couple of dudes that were outside during the lunch period, and I see people gathering, and I see these dudes beatboxing. So I'm like, oh man, this is my end right here. I jump immediately into the cipher. I hear this dude at the time. It's this dude who was the dopest lyricist in the school. He went by the name of E-Rock. His real name is Eddie Askew. I call him my cousin, and I love him to death. Eddie, if you're watching, if anybody knows him and can tag him in this, man, let him know his bro still got love for him, man, and I miss him. Salute to you, bro. Because
shout out to E-Rock. Let's go. Let's go.
What he did for me was pivotal in me becoming who I became as an artist. Because when I jumped into that cipher and I started beatboxing and he heard my skill, he was like, yo, bro, I know somebody firsthand who I need to introduce you to. He's the hottest DJ in the city. He goes by the name of Magic Mike.
Magic Mike, cut the record. Let's go.
Let's get it, man. We're going to talk about it now. He like, yo, man, this dude is the hottest DJ. He hits every spot. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. And he's the dopest DJ in the city. I know him personally. I can do the introduction. I'm like, yo, man, make that happen. Right. He kept his word. A couple of days later, he set it up. I went to Mike. Mike asked me on the spot, could I rhyme? And in my mind, I'm young. You know, I'm only like 14, about to be 15. So in my mind, I'm saying, damn, if I can't rap, I'm about to lose this opportunity. Right. So what did I do? I spit a Casanova Rudd Super C rhyme. Girls,
Super C Casanova Rudd. Let's go.
Let's go. We're gonna take it back, bro. We're gonna take it back. So I spit one of his flows, right? And I could see from the opening line, Mike knew the record. I'm thinking because he in Orlando, the record ain't getting to him yet, not realizing he's tied to New York. So he's getting all the new records that's coming out.
It stopped right there. It stopped right there because Magic Mike during that time had hip hop mixtape circulating the entire city. We was being put up on all of the stuff that New York was playing. He was running through the entire city. Shout out to Magic Mike. Let's go.
Damn right. Shout out to my brother, man. But like I said, I could tell that he could see he knew that wasn't my rhyme. But he didn't blow my spot up. What he did was he told me, come to my crib tomorrow. We got some work to do. I think what it was is he heard my vocal tone and he fell in love with my tone. He saw if I could mimic that and I could do it still and deliver it in my own way, then he could possibly work with me. So what we did is we went into his crib. You know what I'm saying? We went right to his crib, and anybody that's ever been to Mike's house, they knew he had a wall of records, like this wall. It was amazing to walk into this house because when you walked in, it's a regular home until you get to his portion. And you get to that back portion where he got everything, the studio and everything, man. And it was just this wall. And I mean, he had everything from jazz to rock to country to pop, classic. You know, so I saw everything from Da Vinci to, I mean, you know, Mozart and Willie Nelson. I saw everything in this man's catalog. And I'm like, damn, this dude is really digging deep when it comes to this music, and he really studies this. I need this in my life. So you know, he took me under his wing. And what wound up happening is that he and I started going around the city, and we started doing venues together. And he was like, we're going to go by the name of the Get Funky Crew. I was like, man, that's what it is. Let's do it. Because honestly, when he DJ'd and I beatboxed, wasn't nobody fucking with me. I didn't have to. At that time, I didn't have to rhyme. All I had to do was step on that mic, let Mike get behind me and do what he does. And then we used to have this routine that, you know, he would DJ and he would do these scratches, and I would battle him doing the scratches with the beatbox. And we would tear the crowds up every time we did it. No matter where we was, the crowd wasn't ready, because you got to keep in mind at that time in the 80s, the closest people had to really seeing a beatbox was looking at the Fat Boys on TV, watching Dougie Fresh on TV, because at that time they weren't at that time circulating and coming down to the South to perform. So
and talk about the venues. Talk about the venues you were performing at. And talk about the places you were taking that show at. Talk about that.
Oh, man, listen, now if you want to jump into the shows and the venues, you talking about monumental venues. You talking about doing domes in New Orleans. You talking about doing Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. You're talking about doing the Convention Center in Atlanta, the Convention Center in Palm Beach. You're talking about doing the arenas in California. You're talking about doing civic centers and arenas in Texas, Alabama. Man, we had sold out shows, and these were all bass concerts. I'm not talking about the mix shows where it was artists from all over the country. I'm talking about just straight bass shows. I remember going out on tour, and it was nobody but LaJuan Love, MC Shadi, myself. It was Beatmaster Clady and the Get Funky crew at the time. Gucci Crew 2, Half Pint. We went out on the road and we did like a 10-city stretch. And we did high school football fields. We did civic centers on this tour. We hit Gainesville and toured Gainesville a new asshole. You understand what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Bro, it was bananas, because the frenzy, because the sound was new. It was raw. It was authentic. It wasn't what people were used to. So when they heard it, they gravitated to it. If you liked it, you loved it.
Right. And
there was no in between. There was no mixing shit.
Well, you said a pivotal thing right there. Get Funky Crew. Talk about that collaboration between you guys and how sick that was for our city. And that sound y'all created. Just get into a little bit of that, because I think the people don't know. You gotta tell them.
They really don't, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I have to really just say, salute the Magic Mike. Salute to you, my brother. I love you. I love you. I adore you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Beloved, the love is always going to be real with you, man, because you was always real with me. Now, for people to understand this chemistry and this sound and this synergy that we had, it was uncanny, because for two people who had never actually been around one another to be introduced in a lot, and within, I say, a couple of days, we had started cranking out stuff together. And just saw how easily we gelled. It was like, it was easy for him to either follow my lead or I followed his lead. And what was so pivotal about it at that time was that, there were no other crews in Orlando at that time doing what we were doing. You didn't have any other crews that were going around locking down skating rinks and tearing them the fuck apart. We were doing it.
So, let me tell you something, man. When that damn first time I heard, and shout out to all my people from Orlando, because y'all know what time it is. When we seen that damn, I forgot the name of the label, but it was a green single, and that shit said Creep Dog on it.
Oh, you talking about Foresight Records? I mean, no, not Foresight. You talk about Rock Force.
Who knows the label? Who's on the chat that know the label that Creep Dog was on?
That was Rock Force.
Rock Force.
That was Rock Force Records. That was Rock Force Records.
And so
Bobby Ford was the CEO. Bobby Ford Sr. and Bobby Ford Jr. was Cool Rock. And when we tap into that story, a lot of people don't understand the history and the legacy. Boot the Booty became an international hit. It wasn't just a hit that rocked the South. It's a hit that charted and actually transcended not only our country, but China, London, Japan. Like, we was UK, we was tearing them apart.
Right.
And this was stuff that was a homegrown sound that nobody wanted to really give weight to.
Right. Say what you want about Miami. That didn't sound like Miami outside of the tempo. It had its own sound to it. It sounded like Orlando. You know, it felt like, well, you know, shit. We used to go to Universal Skating Rink, Scats.
Come on, talk about it, bro.
and bro, that record was on for so long, man. You just play it, bro, and it felt like you just killed anybody on the dance floor. And then
listen, let me
all
tell
the
you,
girls was on the floor, man. It was crazy.
Hey, bro, let me say this, because I know you're gonna remember it when I say it. You got to remember back during that time, during the Creep Dog time, opposed to everybody just doing the Creep Dog, Orlando had their own dance. Remember the?
Oh, bro, you already know, bro.
You remember the Crunch?
Come on, man, all day, bro.
Come on, man. Let's talk about it,
bro.
Let's talk about it, dog. Man, people don't understand that I'm deep with this history, man. I'm not new to this. I'm so embedded in the DNA of the South, man. And I may not be a born artist from the South, but when I took this on, I took it on to the fullest, man, and I embraced it in its entirety. You know, I became one of the driving forces in what the South would future become, you know, what it became in the future. You know, again, I tell people all the time, they say bass music died. I tell people right now, bass music never died. There's no way that you could say bass music died when you have crunk, which sounds just like bass, just a little slower.
Right.
And when you have Little John, who is the founder of crunk, who was tutored by Beatmaster Clay D in Vision Records. At the studio, we cranked out all our hits from.
Right. Talk about that, man.
You feel what I'm saying? What Little John did was smart, because what Little John did was said, okay, the world can't really handle this no more. So we got to transcend this and take this somewhere else that they can identify and recognize with, but we're going to keep all the same elements.
Right.
We're going to keep the heavy 808. We're going to keep the punchy 808. We're going to use that 808 snare. We're going to use those running hi-hats. And we're going to use these screens and these sounds that we do and we produce ourselves. If anybody ever really did the correlation, if you listen to a Little John track and you listen to a Beatmaster Clay D track and you slow the Beatmaster Clay D track down or sped a Little John track up, they're one and the same. They're one and the same. All John did was take the template and he paid homage to Clay D in the Source magazine. So there's factual facts that state that. You dig what I'm saying?
Well, let's take it back even further, man, because anytime the 808 was used heavily, and I'm taking it back to probably 80, 85, 80, 86 when it became when that LL switched that Rock the Bells. Def Jam brought it to the forefront. They mainstreamed that 808 between License to Ill and that Raising Hell album from Run DMC. It was all 808, and it was the pace in which they used today, damn near, or that Little John was using, that hip hop pace. And to this day, we are rocking Paul Revere all day long in the South, because Paul Revere is the blueprint of how that 808 was supposed to knock. When we heard that damn Paul Revere, bro, let me tell you something, man. That Paul Revere was rocking out in Orlando for years straight.
Yes, sir.
And shout out to the electro aspect of it, because that Planet Rock was the father of freestyle, bass music, everything.
Yes, sir.
You know, without that Planet Rock, that Play at Your Own Risk, you know, that Jam on It, that Wiki, you know, that was the blueprint. When I listen to Ghetto Jump now, I'm like, man, look at the 808s they were using in Ghetto Jump. You know,
come on, man.
look at the
Talk about
bro. Rodney O and Joe Cooley, Everlasting Bass.
Yes,
bro,
sir.
that King T. You know,
Yes, sir.
So
Come on, man. Talk about it, bro.
The blueprint was already there in that regard because that was during a time where we like humans are funny, right? Like there's a moment in which we like up tempo, and then there's that moment that everything was kind of 90 beats per minute, and that's why the 90s were so strong because the 90s were like 90 beats per minute. The whole decade, it was like 90 beats, bro. And we wanted that, but that you had to know how to use those 808s. Magic Mike, Beatmaster Clay D, Little John, those were like the surgeons. Mr. Mix.
Oh, we can't forget Mix. We definitely can't forget Devastator.
Right.
I try to, help people to understand that, when it came to that sound, man, and you made mention of running them using the 808 Heavy and Paul Revere and all of those records. And again, you got to keep in mind, bass records were already out during that same era.
Absolutely.
Now, what I need people to really, really understand is this, and I bear witness to it. I listened to, being from Hollis, I knew the sound that Running Them already had prior to the Raising Hell album. And it wasn't bottom heavy. I'm going to tell you what changed that. It was a night that they came to Luke's Pack Jam, the original Pack Jam. And I got to give a shout out to Luke Skywalker. Uncle Luke, I got to shout you out, man. And I got to tell people the real. The real was the shift came in their sound the night that they came and performed at the Pack Jam. They came and performed that night, and what they were not used to was this bottom heavy sound that Miami and Florida as a state had already embraced and created. They hadn't heard it before. So now they come into the Pack Jam and they're young artists themselves. So they're watching these fine young ladies shaking and gyrating off these fast tempo songs with this heavy bottom. Right.
And I love what you just said. I love what you just said there because there's also that story that Shadi told, and which was hilarious, about Salt and Pepper coming down here doing the same damn thing on that album, and Herb Lovebuck heard that knock in that 808, and he was like, "Nah, man, we need to do Push It," and then Push It came out right after they took a visit to Florida.
Listen, that's all it took. All it took was for them to see, and this was what this. I tell people this all the time. New York was so hypocritical when it came to the South and the sound that the South created, because although they were the originators of hip hop, and that could never be taken away, every other facet of hip hop that came after that was a derivative of the original. And it took little bits and pieces from the original. That's what you do. And you pay homage to what was set in place.
Hold on. You just said a quote, and we got to explore that for a minute. Shout out to Rahiem. Take pieces of bits of all my hip hop hits. Let's go.
Come on, man. I do this, bro. Let's go. Man. I'm hip hop, man. So yeah, like I'm telling you, man, what happens is, man, these little pieces that were taken, the East Coast people weren't too pleased with what we were doing with the sound in the South. They felt it was too childish. It was ABC. It was too corny. They degraded it in every which way they could. But what they tried to do was
stop right there. The man's got breaking news. Breaking news, people. He's got breaking news.
Breaking news never stops.
Turn this motherfucking sound up, man. Blast this. Turn the whole shit up.
turn everything completely up. Go in, Prince. Tell them.
Man, we got to talk about it, bro.
Talk about it, brother.
They hated on the sound that we had. You got to keep in mind, when Beatmaster Clady and the Get Funky crew got on the stage with any fucking body, I don't care who it was. It could have been Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And you got to keep in mind, at that time, they had Ready Rock C. And he was a beatbox. And he was a little bit older than me.
Right.
If we hit the same stage, it did not matter. We was going to fucking tear that bitch apart. Because our DJ was just as good as you, Jeff.
Right.
And he made you realize that you can't sleep on what the fuck we doing. You got to respect it. See, a lot of people don't understand that Mike gained such accolades as a DJ because he was doing shit that DJs in other places couldn't do. His transformer was so far different than what Jazzy Jeff had originated when he started it. By the time Mike started transforming, man, he would play with it, bro. His hands were too fast. And a lot of people didn't understand it was the swiftness in Mike's hands that allowed him to do what he was doing and manipulate those records the way he would manipulate them. I would see Mike take records and lift them up a little bit. Like he'd have them slightly bend and he's scratching these records. Like people weren't doing that back then. Man. Not even the DJs from the East Coast. And they can't say they were.
Man. That's that Cheetah Records right there, man, dude. Like
Cheetah Records, man, for real. Mike set a precedent.
I say it to this day, and I don't know if it's true, but it's true to me, damn it. I know when Jazzy Jeff put out that touch of jazz, that Magic Mike cut the record was the answer to that. And
yes, sir.
To your point, DJs in Florida weren't practicing or coming up with scratches off of no 90 beats per minute. We were already at 120. We were already at 130.
Exactly.
All day long.
Let's talk about it, man. See, it was easy to do it and transform when those records is at 90 beats per minute. That's
right.
Easy. Right. That's real easy. But let's move that tempo to 130 and move it to 140. I've seen Mike have that tempo that high and move that turntable like butter, baby. Like, I hadn't seen DJs from the East Coast doing it like him.
Hell no, man, because once again, and I'm going to say this too, I said it. The idea that hip hop, for a lot of the early hip hop, because it was mid-tone, 80s and 90s beat per minute, they automatically felt like with that 120, that 110, that 130, they wanted to classify that as not hip hop from the gate.
Yep.
But then when they see the girls dancing to it, they even felt even more kind of a way about it, because plenty of people came down from New York and didn't understand why them girls were dressing the way they was and dancing the way they was on them tracks. And that put them in for a loop, because for a lot of people down here, we was like, well, yeah, we love hip hop too, but we don't want to go to a place where there's a bunch of dudes. It was a salsa party. Like the girls wanted to go dance for the bass music because it was like reggae. It was like there was a rhythm to it, and they could do their thing, and brothers wanted to be around the ladies. And so there was that divide that was unsaid. It was like, why don't you be with the fellas? Yeah. And the South was like, nah, man, we trying to be with the ladies.
Listen, let me tell you something. Hey, listen, family, you tapped into something right there. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you, man. A lot of people don't realize, like, that divide that you're speaking on is so real. Because, as you stated, the originators, when they did shows, there was women in attendance, but there was a whole lot more guys in attendance. Because it was a male-driven, basically blood sport. You feel me? Hip hop was a blood sport from the gate because it was always about that competition.
We lost your sound, brother. We lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
what about
we can't
now?
hear you, brother.
Check. What about now? Nope.
Yeah. If y'all hear him out there, man, what's going on?
Check.
People on the chat. Y'all hearing him out there? Oh, man, this conversation is amazing, bro. The devil can't compete. We got this thing on lock, man. We're going to bring it to you, man. Shout out to everybody on the check-in, man. Shout out to my man, Rick. Shout out to my man, Jesse Jazz on the check-in. Shout out to Sojo. Yo! Clay D, Magic Mike. All the legends, man. Prince Rahiem is just building on it. Let's go, brother. You back?
Can you hear me back? You can hear me now?
Okay, hold on.
Tell me if you can hear me now.
Where we at? Let's see here. Off.
Check.
Let's see it, man. No, I'm not off.
You hear me?
Give us a second. Technical difficulties. We're trying to make this happen.
Yeah.
Hold on. Check. 1, 2.
Check, Mike. Check. Can you hear me?
You hear me?
I hear you, yeah. Can you hear me?
We don't hear you.
Nope.
Nope. All right, let's see what the comments say. All right, so everybody's saying they hear us both. Let's see what's going on.
All right, let's get it. Check. You can hear me now, bro?
Hold on. Man. Hold on, let me see here. We're going to figure this out. Just hold tight. Give us a second.
Just 1 second. Yeah, we're going to figure this out, man, because I definitely got to finish this interview.
Check. 1, 2. You hear me?
Check. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. You can hear me now?
Yeah, I think my Bluetooth's died. Okay, so we good. Coming back.
All
right, continue, my brother. That was a great. Bro, we going in right there, man. Damn.
And I'm gonna keep it right there, man. Like I said, they didn't like what we were doing. Because their shows was majority dudes. It was a lot of dudes in their shows. Of course, there was women that showed out to their shows because they loved the songs. However, when they came on tours that we were on, they saw the difference. And they saw the difference in the way the women reacted to our music. We made people party. We made people dance. People weren't concerned about being cool. People weren't concerned about being hard. It wasn't about being no thug. What most people fail to realize was the most gutter people made the happiest music in bass music.
Right.
You know, people always thought that, there was no street element to bass music. Listen, music is music and people are people. So you'd be foolish to think that every other genre of hip hop has street dudes involved, but bass music just had all these dudes who made these happy records, man.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Man, there was killers that was bass artists, bro. Like Jack Boys that was bass artists. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like,
and you know what?
We were street dudes first. I'm from Hollis, Queens. And shout out to Hollis, Queens, man. Y'all know what the block do. Y'all know how that shit was back in the days.
Right.
Like, so for anybody to think that
killers.
Come on, man. For anybody to think that it was anything other than that, man, listen, we lived our lives. We grew up. Because we didn't elect to speak about it via record, didn't mean that we didn't live those lives and we didn't have these stories. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And we went through a lot of things, man, to gain the respect of the world. And I'm not just saying people in music. I'm talking about the world, because our music was shunned by everybody. TV didn't want to hear us. Movies wouldn't accept us. Radio hardly wanted to play us. You feel what I'm saying? But mind you, the brother who actually created the sound and the platform for us to have an avenue to step into, put a block up and said, we don't respect that. That sound isn't what we do, and we're not gonna make it easy for y'all to get in. Y'all didn't have to make it easy, because real music is real music, and people are gonna gravitate to what's real. You understand what I'm saying?
I tell people that all the time. During that time where bass was like at its peak, not only did you describe how the rest of the world took it in, but there was also the home team that was taking it in a certain way. There was certain clubs that they didn't want. They were, for me, and I know I'm crazy. I know I'm a fool, but I ain't a dumbass crazy fool.
Talk about it, bro.
There was a band in Orlando at all these clubs of quote unquote ghetto music, which was another way of saying black music.
Yes, sir.
These motherfuckers would play 3 records and then switch back to like house or freestyle or whatever, and relegated all of the jams to the hoods. And that's not a bad thing in the sense that we still had a place to go, but for a lot of people, they exacerbated that point. And then like several years later, oh, it's all open arms. And now they start bringing that in and saying, okay, well, we'll play it now, and we'll have some shows here now. But you know, you can't put that back in the tube. You know, there was so much of that rampantness going on during that time of Band in the USA album. You know, there was all this controversy. Well, we're just nasty. And I remember, Skin to Win was a way of life. If you walked into any club, there was a Skin to Win contest.
Yes, sir. There was always a Skin to Win contest going on.
Skin to Win contest in every single club. And I know a lot of mamas out there, y'all ain't never gonna tell them stories because.
Hey, listen, man, there's a lot of grandmamas out there that ain't gonna tell their kids or their grandkids some stories about what they was doing. I'll pull it all the way down, Skin to Win.
All the way down,
but we
man.
know what it is,
All the way down. Dude, talk about strip clubs. We didn't really have those kind of strip clubs in Orlando at the time.
Right.
But they turned these clubs into strip clubs because they were getting butt ass naked in the middle of the club.
Yes, sir.
And all you heard was those Skin to Win contests were completely insane. They would never ride right now. Never. No. As nasty as they are right now, they would never.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. People don't understand the fun we had. You see, the music inspired fun and great memories. Where you know, it wasn't until and y'all gotta understand what it is, man. There's no hate in me. I love everybody, but it wasn't until white girls started dancing a little too freaky for the parents that they really started trying to crack down on our sound. And that's when Luke started getting into trouble. And, you know, it started to be these different issues with our sound. Like, all right, we already got to fight internally with other artists just to get our sound heard. Now we got to fight with the police in the neighborhoods because now it's our music that's poison.
Right.
Not once did we say pick up a gun and kill nobody. Not once did we say take a line and snort some coke. What we said was get your ass out there and shake your ass a little bit and let's have
That's exactly what you said.
Get your ass out there, shake your ass a little bit, let's have some fun.
Don't rob nobody, just say
come on, man. We ain't talking about robbing nobody, man. We ain't want to do that. We want to have fun, man. But it's not to say that those weren't the things that went on around us and those weren't the things that we were involved in those moments when we were making these records that made people dance. We made the world dance, man.
Right.
You know, I give it to those who started before me. And I'm talking about the ADEs, the Gucci Crews, the Enforcers, the Anquiettes, you know, the Lawan Love. I shout out Menace, Mentally Disturbed, man. They were there with me. They came in after me. But there were so many groups that actually took a brick, took a stance and said, man, I'm gonna put my brick in this wall with you, bro. We in this fight together. And it didn't matter where you were from. If you were a bass artist and you were out of town on a show and you had an arena full of people, every bass artist got together. I didn't give a fuck where you were from. You could be from Jacksonville or Orlando. I didn't care where you were from, bro. If you doing bass music, you doing the sound that I'm doing that I know everybody hating on, man, you my brother right now. And we're going to fight this shit together, bro. And we're going to show them why they need to respect what we do. And in the end, what wound up happening is they not only respected it, but they tried to emulate it.
Right.
Because now you have East Coast artists and artists from all over the world that want to sound like they from the South. Man, you was born and raised up here. Where you get that accent from, bro? You ain't never lived in the South. Where you get the accent from, bro?
Hey, you know what's funny about what you just said? The only place I'd ever believe you from the South is if you from or you from Chicago, because they talk more Southern.
They got a heavy draw.
Then they do it in the South. Like I'm like, damn,
for real.
This is Mississippi. But
hey, bro, you know what, man? I'm getting a little warm, and you know, with that happening, man, I gotta shout out my sponsor, man. I'm sponsored by Bolt Vodka. And for those who don't know, man, this is the best vodka on the market. This vodka has been in existence for a year. Shout out to my brother Bernard Smalls, the owner of the company. I need y'all to understand that this vodka here is the best vodka on the market right now. With just a year under its belt, it's already been awarded the number 3rd ranked vodka in the country. We got the Bronze Award for the best vodka in the country. This is Black owned, and I need people to really support this because this isn't just about money. This is about a brotherhood. Y'all got to understand why this brother did what he did. This is a brother from Liberty City, Miami, Florida, who lost 4 of his best friends to murder. And what he did was he said, you know, they're no longer here to take care of their families, but I'm going to do something in their honor. And from the proceeds, I'm going to help take care of their kids.
Man,
you feel what I'm saying? This ain't about this man being rich because this man already get to a bag. This man drive trucks and do what he do. He get to a bag already. So this has nothing to do with Bernard Smalls trying to be a wealthy man. What it has to do is with Bernard being an honorable man and saying, you know what? My brothers ain't here, but they have kids. They have a legacy that they left behind. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this company together and I'm going to take care of their kids for them because I know they would have did it for me. Every initial of this liquor, BALT, B-A-L-T, are the initials of one of the 4 friends that were murdered back in Liberty City.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
So if you look at this bottle up close, what you'll see is that there's a silhouette of 4 figures. That silhouette represents those 4 friends that were murdered. You understand me? This is deeper than a brother trying to get rich, man. And there's been a lot of hate around his brand. There's been a lot of things that people had to say negatively about this brother and what he's trying to do. And they don't understand, but it's not for them to understand because his vision is his vision and his journey is his journey. And as I told him from the time that I met him and came into contact with him, if there's anything that I can do on my end to help further this brand, man, I'm going to help to the death of me, man, because this is honorable right here.
Yeah, anybody in the comments, put that vodka name in the comments section and support the brother, man. Shout out to the 305. Shout out to Liberty City. RIP to all the fallen soldiers that have died. You know, and it's amazing that you're talking about that too, because we are living in a time where people are dying left and right now, as it is, even without guns. And we're not able to go to the clubs necessarily and dance. We're being told that we can't kind of be together, whereas the music that you've been talking about tonight is one of those conduits that brings us all together. Talk about how you've seen not only bass music, but just from your take, how you've been impacted by COVID and all of these things that have been going on in the world right now. And just talk to the people there. Let them know what it's been like for you.
I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. You know, this has been kind of rough on me. And it's been rough on artists in general. Those who, you know, make a living performing in clubs and outdoor events and indoor events. You know, when COVID hit, it totally shut that down. I had shows and a whole bunch of things set up right as COVID came into play. And because of all the restrictions, it shut everything down. And to further go in depth, you know, recently on the 23rd of December, I recently lost a cousin, James Thomas, may he rest in peace. I recently lost a cousin to COVID. You know, a lot of people think that this is fake, this ain't real. And a lot of people don't really take the precautions necessary to help us get through this situation. The only thing that I could tell people is this. If you choose to play Russian roulette with your life, do it with your life, but don't put others at risk. You feel what I'm saying? Have compassion for your fellow human being, because there are people who are contracting this disease and contracting this COVID, and they're not doing anything to put themselves in a position to actually contract it. It's being brought to them.
Right.
Through people who are going out here and being reckless and being careless. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, you just brought up a great point. Pandemic or not, we probably wait on people because of a pandemic to care, but we know people don't care anyway. No. It don't matter if it's a pandemic, don't matter if the world burned down. There's some selfish people out here. There's people, to be fair to selfish people, there's people out here that are being forced to go out because they have no other choice, because we live in a place that says, no, you need to go to work regardless if you get anybody sick. We live in a place that states are saying, no, we don't want any restrictions. Get out there and get your ass to work and get out there and get to these retailers and spend your money and you know, so there's not only selfish people, but there's people being enabled through no fault of their own to be selfish simply because if they have no other choice. What say you about that?
Honestly, man, I'll be a buck with you, man. You know, it's unfortunate that we are in a place in a time where people are literally being forced to put themselves and others in jeopardy. Do I agree with the premise behind a lot of the things that are taking place in this moment and in this time? No. And I tell people honestly, it takes unity to change certain circumstances and situations. Right. These things that we're facing in this moment right now, where people are forced to actually have to go out when they really are scared and don't want to, it's because not enough people are actually standing together and saying, you know what, this ain't right, and we need to take a stand. See, we came from a generation, I came from a generation where there was Watergate. Right. You understand? So I watched my mama and my grandmother on the front line during this Watergate scandal. And back then I lived in a place in the Bronx called River Park Towers. Shout out to the Bronx.
Shout out to the BX, let's go.
You know, BX, y'all know what it is, man. Sedgwick Avenue, University, CES 229. Y'all know what it is, man. And honestly, man, I watched my mom, my grandmoms, and my uncles and their friends, like, man, the fort. Like, they organized and they were so serious about what they stood for, that they couldn't be shaped or moved. See, people are so microwave happy right now. It's like they want instant gratification and they don't understand the process. Everything has a process. Everything comes in timing. So when people collectively start to think that way and have that same lightness in thought, then we can merge together and we can make change and transition shit that we feel ain't right now. But until that happens, man, we're not gonna have no traction with this shit. It's too many shit. And it ain't enough people willing to really stand up and stand on the front line, man.
Right. And to be fair to idiots, once again, it's, you know, putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Prior to this pandemic, we were so money hungry. Everybody was out here, money, that it created this stew, if you will, that was just ready to be eaten once the pandemic started, because there's so much you will let go, put aside, or not care about if you need money, right? Like, this is what we've created, these monsters in the idea of we need money so bad, fuck them. And the government didn't make it that way. They only take advantage of what's already there.
See, you said it right there.
We have been saying to each other, make that money, son. Make that money, son. And all of this money. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, people are dying because they got to go to a job surrounded by people who are also don't care. They can't fire us all. What are the business going to do? Their numbers are not even a fraction of 1% of the population, and yet they calling the shots. It is the people. Like, once again, that movie that just came out. Shout out to that whole movement. The Judas and the Black Messiah.
Talk about it, man.
People, there's power.
Yes.
And, I was reminded of that statement so much because, yes, that is true. Where, to your point, if we as a community said, nah, bro, we boycotting this whole thing. To you either show us all these vaccines supposedly work and everybody's straight and nobody's gonna get sick, then we're bowing out of this. What?
Let me tell you something, bro.
You're gonna either move your ass to make it happen, or you're gonna make it better for the people that are gonna put themselves in harm's way. Shout out to the teachers, shout out to all of these people that are literally having to decide between their life.
The doctors, the surgeons, the nurses,
right?
The bus drivers,
right?
The school bus drivers. Man, listen, there are so many people that put their lives on the line daily. Right. And all of those frontline people, man, I salute y'all. I salute y'all. Listen, I'm a part of a family, CP Nassau here in New York, in Hempstead, New York. That's the Center of Cerebral Palsy in Nassau County. That's where I work. That's my bread and butter, and I love it there. I haven't been working recently, but I have friends that I adore and love dearly who are there on the front line daily. You understand me? And they are there to take care of those who can't take care of themselves. You understand me? And it's without thought. You feel me? When you're a genuine person, sometimes you step and you leap out into a situation just because it's in your DNA. It's in your bloodstream. It's in your DNA makeup to be that way. You're authentic. And you're a person who's truly compassionate about others. So you don't mind putting yourself in harm's way if it's going to help somebody else.
Right.
But again, as we speaking, we talking about those who are actually forced into a situation that they don't want to be.
Right. There's people that didn't want to work. Here's the thing, and we about to go deep. So anybody want to hear grown man talking?
So mine ain't going nowhere. Y'all ain't got to work nowhere. I don't care what they telling y'all. If they say they're about to fire you, go ahead and get that goddamn slip. Let them let you go.
Right.
I got you. Good.
We're living in
I'm gonna tell you something. What people fail to realize, bro. And I didn't mean to cut you, but
no,
people
go ahead, bro. No, go ahead.
what's happening in this moment, man. A lot of people didn't realize this pandemic and what this was about, man.
Right.
This was about making people really hone in on what was important.
Right.
What's really important to you, man?
Right.
You know, whether it be the Most High, whether it be family, you were supposed to really hone in on that, man. And for anybody who doesn't come out of this pandemic with a hustle, then y'all was slacking on y'all pimping, man.
Right.
Y'all was really slacking on your pimping because on some G shit, bro.
Right.
People had time to sit back and focus on what it was that they was really passionate about. Because a lot of people had time to just sit home. People should have really been taken in consideration, man. All right, I love doing this. I'm passionate about this. Let me put my full focus into this right now while I got the time, because right now I got the world's attention. People had nothing to do but sit home and be on their fucking phone. I tell people to look at my example. I'm an artist who people call legendary, right? I'm gonna tell you, I don't really care about that moniker or that title. That title holds little weight when it's not really reciprocated or shown, or I'm not treated in that fashion. When you have artists like myself, like Gucci Crew, like Young and Restless, like Half Pint, like Mentally Disturbed, like Magic Mike, like all these artists who fucking really put everything they had into a sound and a music that nobody else wanted to believe in. And they stood on this front line and said, I'm gonna fight for this because I'm looking at all the people around me who love what it is we do. Yes, so we got to take this stance right now. Man, there were so many people right now that are overlooked. LL Cool J just had a Rock the Bells situation, a Rock the Bells weekend, and did a Miami tribute. And for every fucking Miami artist that ever graced the stage to not be a part of that, man, that's problematic to me. For them not to have called Gucci Crew, for them not to have called a Young and Restless, for them not to have called a Splat Pack, for them not to call me, for them not to call all these other artists, and Quiet, anybody. Man, there's so many artists that could have been called and been on this platform. This is major. This is on a major weekend.
Right. And
this is LL Rock the Bells. He got Khaled. I'm glad and honored that my brother Magic Mike was in attendance and my brother Magic Mike had the opportunity to spin.
Right.
You know, but it's like Luke was on the platform. And so shout out to Luke. But it was so much more to that sound and that genre and this time and period in music and place in music that people continuously overlook. And I don't ever want to come off as an artist who's disgruntled because people forgot who I was. I did what I did. I stand on that. And I'm good with that. I'm content with that. Nobody can take away what I've done for music and what I've done for the South. Whether they recognize it or not, it can never be taken away.
Right.
I've done and achieved things that artists that were signed to major labels and all my brothers and sisters who did it as well accomplished things that major artists never were able to achieve.
Right.
We did it without the push of labels because labels didn't support us the way they should have. They damn sure didn't pay us the way they should have.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So
right.
I'm talking about the unsung heroes that didn't make the money but got the name. Marquis said it best. What did he say? Fame without fortune is torture.
Say that one more time, brother, for the people there.
Brother Marquis said it best. Fame without fortune is torture. And people don't understand that, man, because You could have millions of people scream your name, but if everything doesn't add up to them screaming that name,
right.
it don't make sense to you as the artist.
Right.
And this is where we as bass artists struggle, because for those who have grown up on our music, for those who have adored our music for years and still listen to it today, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Every bass artist, I'll speak for every bass artist and say that we adore and appreciate you, because there are so many people who have forgotten what we've done. They forgot what our rightful place was in this music when it comes to the Southern legacy and this Southern history. There was no Southern movement that took precedence over the Southern movement that came out of Florida. And if there was one before that, show it to me, prove it. There was none. There were artists all over the South making music, but nobody had got to a place where they were on a national level and actually touring and getting on stages with the Raw Basses, the LLs, the Public Enemies, the Ice-T's, the Ice Cubes, the NWAs. They weren't touching those stages, but we were.
Right. Well, for a lot of the country, including even the West Coast for a period, we were viewed in a jokingly way. You know,
really
we're a bunch of country bumpkins who all they wanted to do was be with women. And that's when that wave where Andre 3000 said, the South got something to say.
Yes, sir.
And changed the dynamic of how the South was viewed. That we weren't just a bunch of dancing fools. That we were actually people with characters, you know, like we were real people out in this bitch.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And so, go ahead, continue.
I'm gonna say this, man, in tapping in on what you just stated. When Andre stepped in, and there was those who stepped in, you know, prior to him as well, who said that, you know, we need to take this sound somewhere different because they're still not respected. You know, you had the brothers like 69 Boys, 95 South, Tag Team, Deuce, 12 Gauge, who went multi-platinum.
Right.
And still, they tried to hate on the music and hate on the sound and not respect what it was doing. In my opinion, I always stated that, in my opinion, they were just envious that they could not be that clever. Because, you know, even when you think about, let's talk about it. When you think about cell phones, computers, things of that nature, it comes with a guide that says, Guide for Dummies. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Right.
That's the motto. Keep it simple, stupid. We were able to keep it so simple and simplistic that the world had no choice but to say, God damn, they winning. Like, do you see their numbers? For a Prince Rahiem record, Pull It All the Way Down to be on the same chart with a Keith Sweat, Troop, Keith Washington, Biz Markie, and MC Light. For that Pull It All the Way Down record to be on those same charts with those records,
right?
It spoke volumes of what the South was doing.
Right. You damn right.
It said that, hey, we need some elbow room because y'all not trying to let us breathe, but we here and we ain't going nowhere. Right. Back up off us. We ain't going nowhere, man.
And truth be told, there is no Atlanta without Florida. When we're talking about Atlanta and what Atlanta is, that a lot of that came from Florida. Not all of it. Shout out to all the New York influences that came down there.
Let's talk about it.
Florida was their soundtrack for a lot.
We gave them the blueprint. Florida was the blueprint for Georgia.
Yes.
And see, what we did was we knocked down the walls and the barriers. So by the time Georgia stepped into the fray, it was smooth sailing, really.
Right.
Georgia had an easier path to get in and be accepted Then when we stepped into this music and said, this is our sound, and this is the sound we standing behind, and this is what's going to take us to the top.
Now,
and put us on stages with y'all.
I want to say something that may sound a little crazy, but like I said, I'm a fool and I'm crazy.
Talk to me, bro.
You know, one thing that could be said about the irony of it all, in that when we're talking about the Southern sound and downright to how we say the lyrics, how we speak, that for a lot of people in the good old bad days was something that sounded like we lacked education, or we were these kind of, quote unquote, these people. And so for a lot of people, they didn't want to associate themselves with that kind of talk. And the irony of it is now, to your point, you got people all over the country sounding like they all grew up in Miami. And there's an irony that's there that is just incredible because, bro, because y'all used to look at the way people talk like they were slow.
Yeah.
Like, we call Bamas and call all kinds of crazy shit, growing up. And the idea of them now assimilating to that, and then wondering why the South has had a chokehold on just popular music in general for we're working on 2 decades now.
Let me tell you something. The chokehold that the South has on music is never going to fade. It's never going nowhere. And the reason why it's never going nowhere is because the sound that we create is authentic.
Right.
It's not a generic sound. It's an authentic sound that we created in the back blocks of Florida and Georgia. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of people like to say that hip hop came from the streets. Are y'all not really understanding that bass music came from the streets?
Right.
Are y'all trying to say that bass music, because it was what y'all call corny or cheesy music, it wasn't street? I need people to really understand that some of the most thorough dudes in the world were bass artists. And I'm honored to call some of them my friends. You feel me? To this day. And these are brothers who, right to this day, if it ever got thick, I'm standing right by them because, again, I know that if it came to me, they do the same. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Charlie from Young and Restless. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Norris from Young and Restless. Shout out to my brother, Petey Green and Bolo Baz. Shout out to my man, Dutch Dirty. Listen, I need people to understand, man, I am an artist who is multifaceted, who has, told and shown. I've shown people that if you believe, you can achieve.
Right.
A lot of people really never understood the depth of my background, and my background didn't automatically start even in hip hop. My background started, I was the squeaky clean kid. I was the kid who went to church. I was the kid who sang in gospel choir. I was on the junior chorus. I was the kid who went to 192 Linden Junior High School in Hollis, Queens, who was mentored by one of the world-renowned gospel artist, Valerie Boyd, who saw enough potential in me to say, Prince Rahiem, I wasn't Prince Rahiem then, but say Rahiem Thomas, I want to take you somewhere because I believe you have the talent to be this next star. I said, ma'am, I don't understand what you're talking about. You have a voice, you have a singing voice, and people need to hear that voice. And I'm going to train that voice. Again, let me repeat this name. The name is Valerie Boyd. She has her father has one of the biggest churches on Jamaica Avenue to this date in Queens right now. It's still there, it still stands.
Wow.
And she saw potential in me as a singer and said, I think you have the potential. There's a tryout going on and I want you to be a part of this tryout. And I said, man, what is the tryout? She said, it's for being the tap dance kid. And I said, well, I'm not scared. I feel that I can beat anybody. I was confident enough in my vocal ability that I knew if it was based on just singing, that I could probably land that gig.
Right.
And what wound up happening is that we went through the rounds, and Miss Boyd took me every week to the tryouts. And I passed every round. The first round was just on learning lines, and I learned the lines in a night. I learned them overnight, went back, spit them in front of the judges and the cast. Well, not the cast, but the director and the people who were putting it together. I spit it, and they loved me. Then the next day, it was coming back to do vocal. She knew I was a clear win for that because we heard a couple of the other kids singing the night before. And I said, if this is what they're bringing, I'm going to smoke all of them. I'm ready. And she said, baby, stay humble. She said, stay humble. And I said, yes, ma'am. So I kind of reserved myself a little bit. And I said, you know what? That cockiness could mess me up. Let me hold myself. I went in. We all sang. They said, you'll get a call by the end of the night, no later than tomorrow. If you don't get a call, then you didn't make the cut. Miss Valerie Boyd got the call from me, which meant I passed the singing portion. We didn't know what the last portion was because it was a surprise. Unbeknownst to us, you know, the last portion was tap. And there was this kid that I had been watching the whole time, and he and I kind of became friends, and we talked throughout the whole course of this competition in this battle to see who would become the tap dance kid. His name happened to be Alfonso Rivera, who went on to be on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and things of that nature, and now he's on talk shows and things of that nature and game shows. He's a host for a game show.
Wow.
However, it boiled down to he and I actually going up for this one role, for this one spot. And how he edged me out, it wasn't because he sang better than me. It was because he actually knew how to tap dance and I couldn't.
Wow. Wow.
So I got beat out, you know, and that's, again, this is a story that people didn't understand, people didn't know. I got beat out by a nigga who went on, God, Lord forgive me, I don't mean to call him a nigga, but by a brother who went on to be very successful in his career. You know, Alfonso Rivera, who everybody adores and knows for that dance and all that craziness. I got beat out by this guy because he knew how to tap dance and I couldn't. Had there been no tap dancing involved, I would have been the tap dance kid that everybody knew. I probably would have been the young kid that you saw in the Michael Jackson video opposed to him. I probably would have been the kid you saw in the Coke commercials. But that wasn't my life. That wasn't the journey that the Most High created for me. My path was different. He said, that ain't for you. You're almost there, but you're not ready yet. I still got to mold you a little bit more. There's still more work I got to put into you because there's some different things I need to mold you into.
Well, speaking of that, you're now doing Southern Soul.
Oh, yes.
Tell the people this new vibration that you got going on and how people can access it and be a part of this new movement that you're doing right now.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell people, man, I am blessed as an artist because as an artist, I finally got an opportunity to not only do the genre that I love, but to transcend and jump genres and actually win an award. Me and my partner Hassan Shabazz, Black Sheep Bass, shout out to Black Sheep Bass, decided that we were going to do a record together. And we did the record 11 years ago. We actually didn't think that the record was ready at the time, so we held the record back. So then here it comes, the February of 2020. We said, hey man, let's be a group and put this record out and see what it does. Threw the record into some Southern Soul groups, and immediately, like 30 days after we threw it in the groups, we got a nomination.
Wow.
And we looking like, what? Wait, dog, we're nominated in Southern Soul for this record? I said, bruh, like we on to something right now. You know what I'm saying? I said, man, we might need to see where this goes. We really, honestly, when I think of the legends that are in Southern Soul, and I don't disrespect anybody. When I say legends, I'm talking about like the Jeter Jones. I'm talking about the Sir Charles, the Tuckers, the Pokey Bears. You know, these guys to me are legends in that genre. You know, and of course you can't forget the Marvin Ceases who made this this movement what it is. You know, these are the people who, when I heard that we were nominated, I said, man, how are we nominated when you got greats like these people? There's a dude by the name of Johnny James, a woman by the name of Karen Wolf. She's so dope to me. But I'm gonna tell y'all who my baby is in Southern Soul. And she's also new to Southern Soul, and she's also a Florida artist from Northern Florida. She goes by the name of Sojo, the ladies champ. Y'all salute Sojo, the ladies champ.
Yes.
That's my baby girl. That's my sister. I love her to death. We got some things in store for y'all, man. She just did a record with Methrone. And for all those who know Southern Soul and know that slow drag music, y'all know Methrone is the king of that. And he's been a staple in Southern music for a minute. And they just recently released a record. And y'all can go to YouTube and check it out. Sojo, the ladies champ, and Methrone. It's a dope record. I know y'all enjoy it, man. But it's an honor.
Y'all people, please share that in the comments. Share that in the comments. Talking to all the people that watching right now, share that link in the comments. Get used to that sound that Prince Rahiem is putting out, man. It's really dope. He's been doing a lot of lives, and it's been amazing to kind of watch that unfurl through this COVID time. And you know, and if you had a few things to say to our city, actually specific, Orlando, you know, whether it be to the artists out here, whether it be to, you know, people that, you know, are on the cusp of becoming great, or maybe people out here hurting, what would you tell them and why?
All right. Orlando, you know, for anybody that's from the O, there's a lot of people who don't realize and really understand that I love that city. I love that city because that city embraced me. Orlando embraced me first. And they took me in as one of their own. And there were so many people within that city, within my neighborhood. And I can't remember all the names because you're talking about over 30 years that I've been to that city and actually touched ground and connected with some of those people. But there was just certain names like Stanley from the football team at Evans. I couldn't forget him. My man Todd, Scott and them down the block. You know what I'm saying? My man Jeff Tobin and them. There are certain people I couldn't forget. But the one thing that I would say to my city, to Orlando, man, because regardless of whether people want to accept it or not, Orlando's still my city. You know, I still love Orlando, man. And what hurts me about Orlando is the killing that's going on in the city right now. You know, I keep my ear to the street, man. You know, I'm an OG when it comes to this here. You know, so all the things that these young boys doing right now, we done been through that, man. We done been through the wars. We understand what this street shit's about. So for the elders in Orlando, man, it's time for the elders, the OGs, the true street dudes. It's time for y'all to step up, man. Y'all need to be mentoring these young men. Some of them are hotheads, man. And they were just like y'all, just like me. Anybody that know me from old, they know, man, I was a scrapper. I wasn't scared to fight.
Right.
I put it down for the city. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way to this day. I'm a little older, but I'm still who I am. I ain't too far removed from the street. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like, man, I stood for something. I always stood for something. A lot of people misunderstood who I was as a person and as an artist. But I was a genuine person. And if I was down for you, I was down for you. There's dudes in Orlando that'll tell you right now, you know, like we stood back to back and we scrapped and we wobbled out with it. You understand what I'm saying? And I ain't know them from a hole in the wall, but because they screamed they was from the O and they was in trouble, nigga, we gonna get it in. Let's go. We bamming with whoever you bamming with. Let's go.
Right. Right.
My thing is this. And that's we lost that sense of men being stand up. Men saying, you know what? Even if I got this strap on me right now and I got a problem with you and I want to pull it on you, if you tell me you ready to fight me, we're going to put this strap to the side and we're going to squall. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you go home and I go home. You go home to your family, I go home to my family. And ain't nobody crying, ain't nobody mourning.
Right.
We missing that right now.
We are.
And we missing it. We missing it because
the loyalty.
G's ain't standing up, bruh.
Right.
They ain't standing up and talking to these young cats, man. In my hood, I'm gonna tell you something, man. There's a war in my hood right now. Right now, currently, I live in Hempstead, New York. And there's a war in these streets right now. There's a war in these streets right now. And these little babies out here dying daily. Because they got a lot of sucker-ass niggas that they look up to that's supposed to be real. And they ain't telling them, man, there's certain shit you just can't come back from. There's certain shit that if you step into this arena, you can't come back across that line and say you don't want to play this way no more.
Right.
Because once you cross the line, you in it. Ain't no exit. Only exit gonna be death or jail. They not telling them that. Me, I'm real enough to tell these youths out here, man. Hey, listen. I need you to really fully understand what you're getting yourself into. If this is the path that you're gonna choose, and if this is the walk that you're gonna walk, man, people don't understand. I get teary-eyed every time I talk about it because I'm tired of watching these kids in my neighborhood die. I buried my son 2 years ago. That's the hardest blow that I've ever had to take in my life. I buried friends. I buried friends. You understand me? I buried many friends, niggas that I knew if it came down to it, they gonna ban for me.
Yep.
And I had to see them in a coffin, and that cut me in a way that I'd never been cut before. But there's nothing like losing a child.
No.
This is a club and a group that I don't want anybody to ever have to step into, because this is something that is going to be with you and going to walk with you until the day you die. To the day you close your eyes and you are at peace and at rest, finally, you are going to carry this hurt with you. And it's nothing worse than watching a family go through that. You know, when you have to watch the mother of your son and you have to watch your daughter. Man, when my son got murdered, and y'all forgive me for stuttering because this is how deep this is, man. I'm being real transparent with y'all right now. I watched this woman cry. I watched this woman cry for 150 nights, and I counted them. Y'all don't understand that. Y'all ain't hearing that shit, man. A nigga could call me a sucker ass nigga for shedding tears right now. But I'm shedding tears in the hopes that somebody's son don't have to go through this shit, man. Somebody's son could be saved. I don't put that my son was a good kid. My son was a hard head, man. My son was like his daddy. He was a hard head. He didn't listen to shit. He thought he knew everything. You understand me? And I told my son, man, you know, this life that you living right now, I walked that path already, man. I done bared the gunshots, man. I done been through all that shit. This ain't a life you want, baby boy. But what I taught my son was in anything that you do, if that's what you choose to do, you stand on that shit. Man, you stand on it and you be a man about it. And my son sat me and his mother down. He sat us down and he said to us, he said, man, listen, I know y'all don't agree with the lifestyle that I'm living right now. I know y'all don't agree with it. This ain't how y'all raised me. This ain't what y'all chose for me. But y'all always taught me that if I'm going to jump into something and I'm going to stand on something, to be a man and stand all the way in it. And this is what I'm standing on. These are my brothers and I love them and they love me. Yes. My son said to me one thing that touched my heart, man, that I carry with me right now. My son said to me, he said, you know, Dad, you know, no matter what happens, I'm going to always take care of y'all. Never understood what my son meant by that. He said, I'm going to take care of y'all. I'm going to always be there in the midst. And I'm going to always make sure y'all all right. My son had, I could say, a solid 15 friends that from the time my son died, never left my family side.
Wow.
that are still to this day right by our side. And when I tell y'all that there's a war in these streets out here in Hempstead, there's a war out here, man. It's a war out here, man. It's ugly out here.
This go sit your ass down somewhere moment has been brought to you by the legendary Prince Rahiem. If you don't know what he is talking about, he just spoke truth to power. Orlando needs to hear that. Our people need to hear that. The world needs to hear that.
Man,
this is what that sound like. It's from the heart. We need to conversate more with each other. And let me tell you something, my brother. This is a great and long-awaited conversation between me and you. And I know that the people will feel everything you said tonight. I think you've hit the ball completely out of the park. Rest in peace to your son.
Shout out to my son, JoJo. This is JoJo world forever. My son always said to me, he said, Dad, this JoJo world. And I used to tell my son all the time, man, this ain't your world. This ain't your world. What the hell you mean this your world? You ain't been here long enough for this to be your world. Let me tell you something. When my son passed, everything that my son said made total sense. There were so many people that came from so many different organizations and so many different places, so many different facilities, so many different walks of life that I had never met in my life. Never had a conversation with them. Never talked to them about anything. Never knew that they existed in my son's life. My son's funeral was so packed from the front pew that they were lined up outside the door. You understand what I'm saying? They were lined outside the door. And there were droves of people outside the door waiting just to get in to get a glimpse of my son. My son was put away like a royal king, the king that he was, the king that he still is. You understand me? Because that energy like that does not die.
No, it doesn't.
That energy lives on. That energy surrounds us, man. That energy covers us, man. He's my angel now. Where I protected him and wanted to protect him and couldn't protect him in the moment because again, I be transparent with people for a reason, man. I share this with people because it's real. It's a problem that we have. And I keep telling people, if we do not put an end to this, we are going to lose our future.
Right.
Our future is literally killing itself off right now.
Right.
And my fear is that next young king that gets killed, that next young queen that gets killed, that could have been our next president. That could have been our next governor. That could have been our next scientist. That could have been our next doctor. That could have been the next valedictorian. And y'all took her out for nothing.
Yep.
These babies is killing each other for nothing.
Right.
Feel my pain. Feel the pain of a father that's lost a son. I hope this shit resonates with somebody. I hope this shit touches somebody's heart. Look in my fucking face. My son been gone 2 years. We coming up on his anniversary, the 13th of March, and I'm still hurt. This shit don't go away.
Man, my brother, this is why the city is, and will continue to love your ass. Okay.
I love my cities, man. I love Dade. I love Orlando. I love Hollis, Queens. And I'm tired of all my people killing each other, man.
This is what needs to be talked about. We don't talk about it enough, and it's never going to be enough until they stop killing our people, until our people stop killing our people. And it's never going to be enough. We can't talk about it enough. We can't bring awareness to it enough. it's never going to be enough because we need to change the dynamic in the minds of people viewing each other as the very objects that they're chasing. You know, in a world full of takers, who the fuck is giving?
Exactly.
Right? You know, we're supposed to be out here giving of our lives, of our love. We're supposed to be giving, not just taken from people. And we've created a society that all the fuck they see or hear on a regular basis, whether it's through music, whether it's through ignorance on the internet, whether it's, you know, fucked up family situations, whether it's friends, whether it's school, everybody's saying, go get that money. And the very thing that we're chasing, we're becoming these inanimate objects that don't mean anything.
Absolutely nothing.
If money is more valuable than us, and money is not even a living thing, then that tells you where we stand. That to us, we're not even alive.
Definitely. We're slaves to that.
Dead.
We're still slaves to it. See, I need people to really, really understand, man. I'm transparent, and the reason that I become transparent the way that I am for the people and with the people is because, again, man, for me, it's far more than just music, man.
Right.
I appreciate each and every individual that ever streamed the Prince Rahiem record, bought a cassette, bought a CD, bought a vinyl record, every DJ who ever spent my record, every fan who ever came to a Prince Rahiem show. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man who's about some things. Fuck the music. The music is what made me who I am, and it brought me into y'all homes and brought me into y'all lives. But I've transcended into something far beyond the music, man.
Man,
and I want to reach people, man.
You're a human being.
And I'm human first. So, you know, I hope they just like I said, you know, at the end of the day, I want people to really realize that, you know, I'm not that dude that's too cool to cry for y'all or cry in front of y'all. I'm not that guy. You know, I don't put on facades for people, man. Fuck that. I'm real. I'm 100% real. It don't make me less of a man because I shed a tear. I shed a tear because that's mine. I lost something that was dear to my heart. And I watched my wife and I watched my kids go through something that I never wanted to see them go through.
Can I say something real quick? Let me say something real quick, brother. You said it don't make you no punk to cry.
No.
We're living in a world right now where everyone has an opportunity, if they've not already, to be numb. Like an object don't feel shit.
Right.
An inanimate object, it's dead. It don't feel nothing. You just displayed what we hear all the time. Oh, get out of your feelings. All of these things to say how we should be numb. You basically given the example of what it feels to be alive. That regardless, right?
It's okay to be real. It's okay to have feelings. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, man.
It's okay to
Let me
feel.
tell you something. If you got a man in your life that can't cry around you, ladies, I'm gonna tell you something, man. That man hiding something from you because he ain't no real man. Any real man ain't afraid to shed a fucking tear.
Hell no.
If you love something and that's what you passionate about, and it hurts you to your core, you're going to display that feeling, that emotion. You're going to let that woman know, baby, you're not in this alone. You're not hurting and moaning by yourself. You're not mourning by yourself. I'm mourning with you.
Right.
I'm in this with you, baby.
Right.
I'm standing right here in the trenches. And when this shit gets thick, I'm not going to leave your side. I'm not going to push you to the wayside. I'm not going to show you that your feelings are irrelevant or you wrong for feeling how you feeling. I'm going to help you to understand that we're going to get through this shit together.
My man
Coleman, that's what real men do. We stand up on shit.
My man Coleman said, we with you, bro. And that's real talk, bro. We're all out here not only battling the external forces, but we're battling shit within to fight to stay alive and not become numb to it all. And become these people that are just robots moving around, money, 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 give me, money. And we're in that world right now that we're taking a life is the most basic way of showing that, to your one point that you said, keeping it real, that shit is probably the most asinine thing. Not knowing math, not realizing that we are now the majority in this world. It's on record. There's so many things that we can do as a community other than murdering us. There's so many other things that we could be doing to change the dynamic if we would listen more. And once again, we'd have made money the barrier to anything. I'm not going to listen to you because you ain't got no money.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to roll with you.
Even the chicks, you know, it's funny because even the new era females, if you don't come with a bag, they don't want to holler at you.
They don't want to listen.
You're a broke bum nigga to them. They ain't got no time for you. What can you do for me? And it's all about the material shit.
COVID ain't got no money.
Let me tell you something.
COVID don't give a fuck about no money.
I'm a father of 7 daughters. I got 7 girls.
Shout out to that.
All right. I'm a father of 7 daughters.
Congratulations, brother.
See, what I do is I show my girls by example. Like, this is how a woman is supposed to be treated. This is how you talk to a woman. If a man ain't talking to you the way that you see me talking to your mother, that ain't the man for you. And if he continues to talk to you like that, leave him. If he give you a problem, bring him to me, because I'm going to be that problem. I'm a head buster. And no matter my age, I keep telling people, when it comes to mine, I'm frontline. I don't play these games by mine. I'm going to stand on that till the day that God takes my breath and I can't breathe no more.
You heard? You heard?
You understand? I'm 100% solid when it comes to mine, man.
You heard?
My girls feel safe when they walk out here. You understand me? They feel safe because they know they daddy a head buster. They daddy don't play. Not by none of them. Not now one of them. Not now one of my nieces. Not now one of my daughters. I don't play about none of them. I'm surrounded by women. You understand what I'm saying? So as that man, I'm going to step up and I'm going to always show them that there's a manner in which a way a man's supposed to talk to you. There's a manner in which a man is supposed to show you that he really cares and adores you. And if he's not showing you these things and he's not saying these certain things and he's not doing these certain things, that ain't the man for you. My daughter's first love was me. All of my daughters adore me to this day. I'm a stern dad. My nieces as well. I'm a stern person when it comes to mine because this world is brutal and this world don't love our black babies. Nope. This world don't love my daughters. This world wants my daughters to fail. This world does not expect my daughters to supersede expectations because they come from a certain demographic of people and they come from a certain area. And because of all of these different statistics that they've made up that say that this child is supposed to fail. Let me show you something. I got a daughter who just turned 18 today. Happy birthday, Armani. I love you, boo.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday to my Pisces baby. You know, on some G shit, my baby graduated early. My baby is now in La Cordon Bleu Culinary Arts School in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh, congratulations.
I got a daughter that's about to graduate right now, Regine. Shout out to my baby Nene. My baby could have graduated last year when they said that this remote school thing wouldn't work because we're supposed to be in school around one another and this, that, and the third. My daughter could have graduated last year, but she chose to graduate with her class. So this year when she graduates with an advanced diploma. Wow. You understand what I'm saying? So like, people can say what they want to say, man. unless you're really in the trenches and you're really about what you speak, man, your legacy ain't gonna show that. My legacy shows what it is. I'm about that. I love mine. I love all mine. Like I said, I'm the father of 7 daughters, 7 girls, man. And a lot of people say, "Right, you was fucking off when you was young, huh? You was a player, huh? Most I done slapped you with all these girls on your ass." No.
That's the world turning right around, ain't it?
What people don't realize is them daughters of mine is my blessings.
Yes.
My princesses, every last one of them are a blessing to me, because each one of them I love differently, but I love them in a way that they understand, and I love them in a way that encourages them and inspires them to be great. Because see, that's what our job is as fathers. Fathers as men, we supposed to be in our daughters' lives, and we supposed to show them, hey, listen, baby, I love you. I'm going to support you, right, wrong, or indifferent. But if you're wrong, I'm going to correct your wrong. I'm going to take you behind the scenes. I'm not going to embarrass you in front of the world. We're going to go behind closed doors and we're going to talk about this. And I'm going to show you where you went wrong, because this is my duty as your dad, as your father, as the person that the Most High put and appointed to be ahead of your life and show you some things in life before you get out in this world.
Right.
See, I'm more than just music. I'm spiritual. I'm so many diverse things, man. Shout out to my Vert City Cartel family. Petey Green, Mr. Charlie from Young and Rusted. My Vert City Cartel family. Man, shout out to my producer, Rico Smiles, out of Tallahassee, Florida. Yo, man, I got to shout some people, man, because, you know, shout out to my brother who, and I'm going to take it back again, man. I got to shout out to my brother, Convertible Bert. You know, there's a lot of dudes who to this day throw his name in records, you know, and it's cool. That's cool. Y'all can do that. I can actually say that I sat beside this man, and me and this man shared conversations, and that's my brother to this day. That's my brother right now. You feel me? So shout out to Convertible Bert. Shout out to Kiki. Shout out to Rory Newkirk, man. My brother just had a wedding party in Tallahassee, man. I couldn't make the event, but I saw some of the pictures, man. I know the event was lovely, man. I love y'all brothers, man, and y'all know what it is. Ain't nothing changed, man. We about to get to it again in 2021, man. But yo, before we get out of here, bro, you know I got something I wanna drop on the people real quick.
Okay, yeah, do your thing, brother.
Peep game, man. Now they know that, you know, people don't know. I got a solo project that I'm working on, the Prince Rahiem project. And if y'all been on my Facebook page and y'all seen the video Walk, if y'all haven't seen it, just scroll down my timeline. Y'all gonna see this video entitled Walk. It was posted February 2nd or 1st. I can't remember, but that's like my lead single. I'm about to drop that. Then I got this Vert City Cartel project, and people got to understand how dope this is, man. I'm blessed to have one of the greats from Young and Restless, Mr. Charlie, and one of the greatest producers from the South, Mr. Petey Green, to be my counterparts in brotherhood in this collective collaboration that we call Vert City Cartel. Then you got this home records project with me and my brother Black Sheep Bass, where we have a producer by the name of Rico Smiles out of Tallahassee, Florida. And Rico is a monster in his own right. So, you know, and shout out to my brother Trevor as well, who also co-produces with Rico. Man, they've created some monsters for us. And man, I got this one song that I'm about to drop. And I kind of wanted to give people a little taste of it tonight. I said, you know what? I might let them hint a little bit of it tonight. And I'm gonna just give y'all just a brief preview of the song. And honestly, man, I hope y'all like it. So here we go. We're gonna get into it right now. Okay, here it goes. The song says, hey there, little mama, body drifting that designer, looking so good, I got something to say. I ain't came here for no drama from your BD or your papa. I'm a grown man, I ain't coming to play. Now you know I can't ignore it. I love the way you hold it. Tuck nice between those hips and those thighs. It's the sway when you be walking, nasty things when you be talking. I'm about to make that temperature rise. Come put your loving on my tongue. Yeah, I got some shit coming for the soul. Loving on my tongue coming for y'all ass. I hope
Let's go.
I'm stepping in that vein of Mr. Marvin Cease with that candy liquor shit, and I'm coming with that loving on my tongue. What we doing, baby? What we doing, bro?
What we doing, man? Let's go.
Keep rolling on them, man. We gonna have fun with this other soul shit, man. And I'm
so honored.
Listen,
So
this is
honored to
a
have
beautiful
you on
thing, man.
tonight,
This is a beautiful thing.
So honored to have you on tonight, man. We went all over. I felt like we went all over the world, and it was a beautiful trip. We were able to laugh a little bit, cry a little bit, kind of just get right through it. It shows that you could put some people together, and we could talk like human beings and not be afraid. This is what this show means to me, and based on what you told me earlier, I'm not the only person out there that really can feel the conversations that are being had, representing our city and just representing the culture as well. I want to thank you. You're always welcome on the show. When things clear up and your new stuff comes out, please come on the show and let us know about it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
But I know I can say this confidently. You are the sound of Orlando, and we love you, bro. Continue doing what you're doing out here, brother.
Man, thank you so much, man. Orlando, I love you. Florida as a collective, I love you. Man, for any and every person who's ever, again, supported me as an artist, man, I'm so humble. Anybody that knows me on a personal level knows that I've never been that flamboyant person, that cocky person. I've always been humble, and I've always been that way. I'll never change. Thank y'all for sharing in my time, man. Thank y'all for joining this live to watch this live stream. Man, I love you. Sojo, I see you, baby. I see you in the comments, and I love you too, baby. You know what it is. 2021, Sojo. We about to take this shit to the top, mama. Let's give
it up. Give it up for the legendary Prince Rahiem. Let's go. Man. Man, you know how we're doing it, man. I feel so honored to have had him on tonight, man. I know he represents my upbringing in music, and how could we not have him on the Sound of Orlando show? Shouts out to everybody that was on the comments, and comments have been on fire all night, man. Rightfully so. We had a great conversation that most people should have once a day with each other, keeping it real, just talk to each other. Solves a lot of problems. Sometimes it's not about the answers. Sometimes it's just about listening. And, if we could all fare to do, listen better in our lives. So I want to shout out our sponsors of the night. My man, Jesse Jazz, the legendary, 5-Star Graphics. Please hit my man up if you need any kind of graphic artwork. He's going to take care of you. We represent the city of Orlando. This whole show is about our city, our story, and our motherfucking sound. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. I am Rome, and I love all you guys. Thank you for showing up tonight. This is about us, baby, the fam, and we're talking to the entire world on top of it, man. So shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to my man Coma. Shout out to everyone on the check-in, man. We love y'all, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go.
Live on stage, the sound.
Orlando.
So, if they ready,
Yes.
the sound.
Orlando.